Anahasmika. Welcome to Performance Poomsae class, as it were. Uh, so I just want to first address how we're all in quarantine, right? It's a big change. None of us knew about a month ago that we'd be walking out of the dojang for the last time for over a month. And I would like to bring up something from my past in my Taekwondo career that might help you guys out a little bit as far as moving forward. There was a time many years ago before I met Master Corbin and joined championship training that I walked through the doors of a dojang not knowing that it was going to be the last time that I would ever go back through those doors. And that changed a lot of things for me. Having left and not knowing that I wasn't going to return, it changed things because what I ended up doing was coming home, drew a South Korean flag, drew an American flag, and Britlin and I would put on our dough box, Zarek and Zoe would put on our dough box, and we would start performing class on our own. Because of the circumstances, we didn't have anywhere to go, and we didn't know where we were going to go, but we knew that we wanted to keep Taekwondo in our lives. And so we didn't give up on Taekwondo. For weeks we did this. We didn't know what we were going to do. And thankfully Taekwondo didn't give up on us either. We were able to get a hold of Master Corbin. We were able to join championship training. We were able to get to meet all of you. And that's where Taekwondo really didn't give up on us, right? Like, we didn't give up on Taekwondo. We were pushed up against adversity. But we made a choice and we continued to push through. And that's what we need to do now. And that's what we are doing now. We're going to our Zoom classes with Master Corbin. We're not giving up on Taekwondo. And I promise you that by not giving up on it, it will not give up on you, and we're all going to be so much better for having pushed through, having maintained it, having kept it with us. So I just wanted to send that out to you. And if you're watching this, that's because you haven't given up, which is awesome, and you're also interested in the Performance Poomsae class that we offer at Championship Training. And this is a class that I've been doing for almost, not quite a year yet. But it is something that I am very excited about. It is something that I miss teaching every Monday and Friday at the dojang. And I'm excited to start getting some of these videos out to you guys so that you can continue to improve with our Poomsae and our Performance Poomsae on a world-class level. Now, what that means is, what our goals are is to put a Performance Poomsae team together for the AAU National Championships this year. I'm not exactly sure what the dates are going to be. I know that things have been pushed back, so I don't have a timeline for us. But what I do have are what the rules are, what your expectations should be about what you need to know when going there, and hopefully give you all the advice and ideas you need to be able to help improve your technique, solidify your technique, make sure that it fits all the criteria that's outlined in the scoring guidelines that was distributed by AAU National Championships, and give you all those workout exercises to help improve those techniques. First and foremost, I want to talk about how the divisions are in AAU National Championships for the Poomsae divisions. They're broken into age groups, and then they're broken into belt ranks. And so each belt rank will be responsible for knowing certain Poomsae levels, and this is how it's broken down. Now, you'll need to find out what belt rank you'll be if you plan on participating in the tournament at that time. So knowing what belt rank you're going to be during the tournament is important. Because you might be a white belt now, but if you're a yellow belt for the tournament, then you'll fit into a different criteria. So yellow belts will be responsible for knowing Taeguk's 1 and 2, Iljang and Ijang. And so those are the two that you're going to practice, right? You're going to practice those ones as if they were going to be your tournament Poomsae. Then if you're going to be a green belt, you'd be responsible for knowing Taeguk's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that doesn't mean you'll have to perform all 4 of those Poomsae, but that is the pool that your Poomsae would be selected from that you will have to perform. In the rulebook, it says that Poomsae is decided at a meeting prior to the event. Now, I don't have any AAU National Championship experience, but I have gone to USAT National Championships, and that Poomsae was decided 2 weeks prior to the tournament. So you'd have 2 weeks knowing exactly which Poomsae you need to do, and so now we'll take the time to work on the whole pool of Poomsae. That may be required. So then blue belts, if you're going to be a blue belt for the tournament, you'd be required to know Taeguk's 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then red belts, your Poomsae will be selected from a pool of Taeguk 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that doesn't mean that you'll be performing all of those Poomsae. It means that the Poomsae you will be performing will be picked from that pool. Okay, and I also want to talk about the scoring guidelines, which I think is really important because they're kind of open to interpretation in one sense, but they give very, very distinct and direct guidelines of what it should be. The scoring guidelines are broken up into, you get 10 points, right? Olympic style scoring out of a total of 10 points, and it's broken up into two categories. We have our accuracy score, and then we have our presentation score. Now, accuracy is based off of how well you know the Poomsae, right? Which technique should be executed, and how well you execute that technique. So what that would mean is if you're performing a middle punch, right, and you're supposed to perform a middle punch, and it's just a little bit to the outside, that would constitute as what they dictate as a minor deduction. The technique is still a middle punch, it's just outside of the parameters of what they've set. Now, a major deduction would be something where you're supposed to perform a low block, and you perform a middle block instead. That's the wrong technique, so you'd be deducted 3/10 of a point, or a major deduction. So minor techniques should be in the middle, right? It's a little bit outside. That's a 10th point of a deduction. A major deduction should be a punch. You throw a block. That's a major deduction, and it's 3/10 of a point. So presentation is broken up into 3 separate subcategories. Presentation is worth a total of 6 points, and the 3 categories that it's broken up into are speed and power, rhythm and tempo, and expression of energy. And I'm going to read to you exactly what they qualify these 3 categories as. So speed and power, they say, is the ability to perform Poomsae shall be evaluated on whether the movements are performed in accordance with the characteristics of the pertinent movement. For example, attacking techniques such as Jiragi or Chagi are best performed with a soft start, accelerating with a balance between speed and power, using the body weight to achieve a maximum effect, or special movements are performed slowly and intentionally with power and balance. Examples of this that they give. Deduction shall be made if too much strength is revealed at the beginning of the movements, as this slows down the movement and reduces the power effectiveness of the movement. And then deduction shall be made if the contestant exaggerates a movement beyond the culmination of that movement to show power in the next movement, or exaggerates the reaction of the body to express power. So what they mean in these examples is if you're trying to perform a middle block and you're trying to make it look super powerful and you're just like, and it's super slow over here. It didn't accelerate through the chamber, right? You still hit the starting point and the end point, but you lost all that efficiency because you weren't accelerating through the technique. And then the secondary part, it's talking about over-exaggerating your body, where you're trying to express a lot of power, but you're moving your body through the technique, so you've lost control, and your body kind of lost compromised the structure of your body, so that reduces efficiency. And so this score is pretty much like the judge will watch your entire performance, and then they'll say, I would give you 1.7 out of 2 points for that category. Now, the second subcategory is rhythm and tempo. So they describe as control of power means the greatest power is shown at the most critical moment of the movement, usually the culmination through speed and softness. Control of speed means an appropriate connection between actions and changes in speed such that the powerful moves accelerate. So a little bit of what it's talking about with speed and power, right? And rhythm. Rhythm means repeated actions are performed with timing that results in the technique being the most effective to accomplish the intended result. And flow of power, with the greatest expression of power occurring at the instant of the strike, block, or kick. And so that means that all your force and rhythm and tempo and the rhythm of your technique and the tempo of your technique really brings the acceleration into play, the control into play, how you started, how you move into the next technique, right? There's a purpose behind it. There's a reason that you're doing it that way. So it's very direct. Now, examples of rhythm and tempo would be that too much power makes the movement look stiff and robotic from the start, so deduction shall be made if the speed, power, and rhythm are presented with no changes from the start or end of the lines of movement, right? So it's all moving the same speed all the way through. You're losing your acceleration, you're losing your efficiency. And then deductions shall be made in case of stiff or limp actions coming from a stiff body or too soft presentation without expression of power. A strong start makes it difficult to accelerate and slows down the action of a critical point of movement. So we've talked a little bit about how if it's too strong all the way through, you lose that acceleration, you lose efficiency. But then a limp body, right? Like if it's limp and it's loose, right? We're not really conveying all that power because our body kind of, our structure has been compromised. Okay, and then we'll move on to expression of energy. So expression of energy is super important, and it kind of is like an overall bubble shell of how the whole performance goes, inside and out, from the beginning to the end, and to even to those little moments before the beginning and the moments before the end. Expression of energy. This category addresses the presentation of confidence and power that come from mastering the expression of energy. The range of movement of techniques, concentration, courage, sharpness, confidence, and posture affect how energy is expressed according to characteristic actions of the Poomsae. Such characteristics as the direction of sight and focus of the eye, right, where we're looking, how we're looking, where our eyes are even at, and strength of the kiap, how loud our kiap is, the attitude, and the uniform all contribute to the overall expression of energy, right? So it's pretty much everything that you're bringing out onto the table would be categorized as expression of energy. And so the example they give is that a deduction shall be made if actions are not crisp and powerful, or connecting actions are not big enough for the performer's physique, right? So like if you're really tall and your motions are super tight to your body, you're really not exemplifying, right? You're not showing off, you're not showcasing that technique as best as you could be with that a longer body would be able to. And everything is based proportionally off your body. How long your front stance should be, how wide your front stance is, all proportionally based off your body. And we'll go over what those proportions are in some technique videos. And then, or performance is made in the same rhythm throughout without slowing and accelerating to emphasize techniques. So even the expression of energy, they talk about the rhythm and tempo. So moving forward, what I want to offer you guys are videos on technique, right? How it's broken up by the Poomsae scoring guidelines. And so I have a manual of how each technique should be performed. They will verbally describe where the starting point is, where the stopping point is, how it should be executed, and then they have pictorials exemplifying how the technique should look when you're performing it. Along with that, they have what would constitute as a minor deduction, right? Like these are all the same technique, these are all the right technique, but there's slight things that are incorrect about it that would constitute as a minor deduction. And so starting with Taeguk Iljang, I'll cover all of the techniques that would be pertained or portrayed in Taeguk Iljang. And we'll start from there, and moving on to Ijang, we'll add any techniques that are added to Ijang, Samjang, Sajang, and through it, and adding new videos for each technique, where it should start, where it should stop, and what the exact guidelines are based off of the world-class Poomsae scoring guidelines. And that being said, we'll also have videos about exercises and how we can improve our technique, how we can improve our body control. I think is one of the most important parts of performance Poomsae, how well we can control our body. And because every motion is a very calculated motion, it's quite different from Gairugi in that I know and I can expect exactly what is going to happen next, so I can really train my body to perform the next action that needs to happen next. Right, and so there'll be some exercise videos, some strength training, flexibility, mobility videos that I'll be putting out to help us with that. And then I'll have specific technique videos. Everything that we'll need to know for Taeguk Iljang will be comprised in one video, and in that video we'll also be performing Taeguk Iljang. And then as we move on to Ijang, Samjang, we'll add those techniques as we move forward. And that way you can go back. Let's say I need to make sure that I'm doing my front stance correctly. I can go back to the front stance video, watch through that, make sure that I'm doing it correctly, or whatever it might be, middle punch, front block. All of that. With that being said, I would welcome you to record your Poomsae, right? Find out what your tournament Poomsae is going to be. Record it. Send me a video. I'll watch it. I'll let you know what you should be working on. Doing everything I can to help you become better at performing your Poomsae. And so you don't have to be going to nationals to benefit from this either. This would be a great opportunity if you've struggled with your Poomsae, right? You want to improve your Poomsae. This is a great opportunity for you to be able to do that, and I will try to give you all the tools that I can to help you do that. If you have any questions, please let me know, and thanks a lot. I really appreciate your time.